Hello everyone, I am Dr. Tejinder Singh. I am practicing as a medical oncologist in Apollo Hospital, Navi Mumbai. I have been practicing medical oncology since the last 15 to 20 years. Today I will be speaking about a topic which is very important. We call it secondary cancers, or sometimes also known as secondary malignant neoplasms. Also, I will be discussing about what are the common causes, why it happens, and why the things which are important, how we can prevent it. So there are important things to discuss. First thing which is very important is we have to understand that secondary malignant cancers are different from the metastasis. They are not metastasis. Metastasis means a person has got a cancer where it has spread to different organs, that is called as secondaries, or we call as metastasis. We are here discussing something different. We use a word called secondary malignant neoplasm. That means a person has got some cancer and he has taken some treatment, and over the next few years he develops a new cancer which might be related to this cancer or might not be related to this cancer. Something like, I can tell you, a person has got a breast cancer and a lady has taken treatment for breast cancer by way of surgery, chemotherapy and radiation, and after around 4 or 5 years has developed kidney cancers or skin cancers, which are not related to breast cancers but is something, a new cancer. So this new cancers in a cancer previously treated cancer patient is known as secondary cancers, also known as SMN, or we call secondary malignant neoplasms. So let us just see the reason why it happens. So commonly the most common secondary malignant cancers are seen in two subgroup of patients. One, patients who have been, we call it childhood cancer survivors, and also a secondary thing which is very common to see is we call in patients who have undergone some transplants like liver transplant, kidney transplant, where secondary cancers can happen over there. So there are multiple reasons, but yes, the why we are seeing a surge in the secondary cancer is that nowadays we have so many modalities of treatment is available that the patient, they survive over a period of time, and since they survive but they don't stop the causative organ to come out from them, and the secondary cancers happen. So like most common is we call the causative chances are related to, it could be related to age, it could be related to family history, it could be related to something we call it genetics, and there are other factors which can be part of it, like you have, we call field cancerization, and lastly we have some lifestyle changes. So a patient who had cancer, who has taken treatment, naturally he has to come out from certain things which can cause cancers. But one of the most common cause for getting a secondary cancers are related to treatment itself, like patient who has taken chemotherapy and taken radiation therapy. So let us just elaborate certain things. One of the commonest cause of secondary cancer is we call family history or genetics. So the more elaborate word or something which we know about is related to a cancer which we commonly know as breast cancer. So breast cancer, around 15% of the patient, they will have some kind of family history, and day by day with the advanced thing which is happening, the probability of finding a genetics involved in a breast cancer or ovary cancer is in the tune of around 15 to 25%. And these genes basically are the culprit. So that's the reason we always say a new field which has emerged in the last few years is, we call it genetics. And there are now genetic counselors, there are genetists, we call it clinical genetists, and there are some molecular biologists, molecular oncologists also being part of the treatment. So like I said, in breast cancer there is something known as, they are very prone to develop a ovary cancer if they have a family history or if they have a genetics. So we commonly do certain genetic testing for these two subgroup of patient. We are saying it's commonly known as BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes. Apart from that, there is now plethora of different genes are there, and we do a genetic testing for every patient, especially who has got ovary cancer and breast cancer. The reason is that when you find any kind of genetics involved, so these patients need to be monitored in a more aggressive way as compared to other population. So genetics is one big component where the secondary malignant cancers are commonly going to happen. But other things are we call lifestyle. Now lifestyle, a patient who has got oral cancers, the oral cancers are most commonly caused by what you call tobacco. So if he gets a cancer in that one part of the tongue, so if he gets treatment for it and he doesn't stop the habit of continuing eating tobacco or continuing with smoking, he is very high likely to get something known as a secondary cancer, which we use a word called field cancerization. So if when a person is eating tobacco, the tobacco is there all around the mouth, even though only one part of the mouth is getting affected, but very high likely chance that if he doesn't stop the habit, the other part also can get affected, and that's called field cancerization. And the third thing is we use a word called lifestyle, something like that. The very common cancer which is seen in our Indian population is we call head and neck and the aerodigestive tract. Aerodigestive tract means food pipe and the stomach. And the cause of stomach cancer or food pipe cancer is related to the lifestyle many times, like patients who are alcoholics and who have been smoking. This smoking and alcohol is a we call synergistic action. If a patient is only alcoholic and only smoker, the effect is slightly less. If they do both the things, it is called synergistic action. So these cancers which are related to the food pipe and related to the stomach, they are mostly related to these two common lifestyle issues, which are we call smoking and alcohol, which can collectively cause a synergistic action to increase the risk of cancer. So that's why we commonly see a patient who has got a food pipe cancer, stomach cancer, and he is not regular in changing the lifestyle. Very high likely he is going to develop a secondary cancer in the same site or in a different site. So childhood cancers are something which we are which have got a maximum what you call the success rate. Most of the childhood cancer, their survival is in the tune of more than 90%. But remember one thing, even if a child has got a cancer, he has got cured, he needs to be monitored serially, because every 6 months annually they have to come, because oncologist sees many things which we call it some kind of skin cancer happen over there. The chemotherapy drugs which we commonly use in this childhood cancer, they have themselves a propensity to cause a cancer. So like we use a lot of drugs for maintenance for around 2 years, 3 years, and these drugs have got a very high propensity to cause skin cancers and kidney cancer, and also a kind of cancer we call lymphoma. So when we talk of a separate entity called secondary malignant neoplasm, which is a very rare entity, but yes, if you see the list of cancer which are happening, among the top 10 it sometimes finds a place. The reason is, like I said, we are aging. Many of the patients have got excellent treatment, they have survived. This survival has led down to their propensity to increase, getting a propensity to increase the cancer in them. Like I said, genetics plays an important component. So every cancer patient, if he or she develops a secondary malignant neoplasms, they need to be properly counseled and they need to be properly checked for the genetics part, because somewhere down the line the genetics and the family history is part of it. So when we talk about this topic, how do we prevent it? I think the first and foremost rule is that we have to understand that a monitoring is very much required. Even a patient develops a cancer, it doesn't mean that he has to stop following up with the oncologist, with his treating oncologist. He has to be on a regular follow-up, because very high likely as compared to general population, their propensity to develop a cancer is very high. If a treating physician will only know which part of the area which they are more likely to develop cancers, he will be properly checking them. Second, I think is a field which is advancing a lot in the future is going to happen, is somewhere down the line we are going to put a lot of focus on a genetics part. Like I said, there were genes which were discovered hardly 1 or 2. In the last 15 to 15 to 20 years, we have around 260 to 270 genes which have been found to be culprit in causing cancer. A day might come when we can do a genetic engineering in certain subset of patient where the family history is there and we can prevent cancer, but still time is there. What we require is a pure more focus in trying to identify this subgroup of patient and trying to be more aggressive in doing a screening in them so that they can be pinpointed early. Something like I said, in a breast cancer patient, a patient who has got a breast cancer, we had done a genetic testing, is found to have what we call certain mutation, we call BRCA1 and 2 mutation, and then lots of other named mutation. They need to aggressively come for screening. Now this screening involves doing a sonography, doing a mammogram, sometimes many times we require to do a what we call as MRI of the breast also. And this way we are able to detect. We cannot, patient who is going to develop a secondary cancer, what we are going to do is basically we are able to detect it early, because the focus here is if you detect it early, then the chances of treating the patient in early stage is there, high chance of cure it is there. So there is no medicine per se which will prevent the secondary cancers, but yes, in these particular subgroup of patient we will be able to diagnose it early, treat it early and cure it. So when you see about the focus here, the main precautions which we need to do is, naturally we have to make sure that you have to tell your treating doctor whether the genetics is involved or not, whether my genetic testing has been done or not. Second thing is the lifestyle. I think this is something very important. There are, like I discussed, there are certain lifestyle which a person needs to do. There are certain lifestyle which makes a patient prone to get a cancer. One of the cancer is your mouth cancer. Second is all the cancer which are related to alcohol. These two are very big culprit. If you stop smoking, if you stop alcohol, and if you stop both those things, naturally the chances of developing cancer in this area or secondary cancers is going to be very low. We tend to see very commonly patients, especially head and neck cancers, where we had given treatment for, we had done surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. They tend to come back within 2 to 3 years. One of the major reason is that they don't stop the habit of smoking and habit of alcohol. So I think if every cancer patient is aware where to put, what to do, whether he needs to come regularly, what is the importance of genetics, I think there are many secondary cancer we can prevent it also. So I will end my topic in the simple way is that, a person who has got a cancer, there is a high probability that he might develop a cancer in the future. So what is most important thing is that he needs to have a very balanced lifestyle, do regular exercise, need to monitor continuously with the oncologist about any future kind of symptoms he develops. Thank you.